Have you ever said a prayer to St. Anthony when you lost something? What you might not know about St. Anthony was he was a Franciscan priest, but he wasn't always a Franciscan. That St. Anthony, when he was a priest, there were a couple Franciscans who lived nearby, and they went to go preach the gospel to some people who didn't know Jesus. And they came back dead. They came back decapitated. And in that moment, St. Anthony was inspired by people who didn't hold back from preaching the gospel, even if it meant their lives. And I think as we start to approach Lent, the question you have to ask yourself is, are you convinced? Are you convinced that without Jesus, our lives are kind of meaningless? That without Jesus, we suffer more. We not only suffer more, but we don't have anyone to turn to. That we don't have this love that changes our lives. That our lives are transformed when we know Jesus. And people who don't know Jesus are suffering, are really hurting because they don't know the love of God, the love that they are created for. And so I ask you, brothers and sisters, to ponder the question, are you convinced that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life? I believe that sharing our faith is the natural environment for Christians. That as we experience Jesus, that we want to go forth and share that with other people. So this Lent, I want to challenge you to do that. This Lent, I want to ask you to recommit yourself to sharing your faith and not being afraid. Not being afraid to use words. Sometimes people say, St. Francis said, preach the gospel, use words if necessary. Well, yeah, I went to a Franciscan school and people told me he never actually said that. It's not written down anywhere. And when you look at his example and the example of other Franciscans, they were not afraid to use words to share Jesus. So words are important and our deeds are important. How we show people with our actions is important. But also it's important that we continually experience Jesus ourselves. So experience Jesus, know him, encounter him regularly, and then share Jesus both through our actions and through your words. And today ask yourself, are you willing to recommit to sharing Jesus both this Lent and today? And how can you do that in a practical way?